Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps lots. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are after market close on Friday, March 25th. We're going to take a look at SoFi. Now, before we hop in, I will just mention I know it's been a very long time since I made a video, and apologies for that. A couple of things. One, as you know, the market just kind of went berserko and especially hit growth and de-SPACed, relatively recently de-SPACed stocks pretty hard. And so, as I had mentioned before, a lot of my feeling was that SoFi was just getting dragged around with that. And so, that's part of why I started trimming down the frequency. But then with the situation globally, and I'll just leave it at that, I got pretty wrapped up in trying to take some actions with that stuff, and I'm still doing that and plugging away at it. But I did feel that it was important to come in and do an end of week update here on SoFi. And overall, I think this is good timing based on a lot of what I've been doing with the markets, and maybe getting a grip on some of the other stuff that's been taking my time away to get back in a more regular cadence. So not just with SoFi, but with other tickers as well. So you can expect more frequent updates on SoFi. I don't expect me to hop back in daily, but I would expect at least a couple of times a week a SoFi check-in. And so hopefully that will be something that you would enjoy. And then also, I'll be putting out some polls over the weekend of some tickers. If you'd be interested in me covering particular tickers next week, I'll sort of do a few sort of contests. We'll put a few different tickers, and then whatever ticker wins that battle, I'll do on one day, and so I'll do a few of those over the weekend. So just keep those peeled. Another reason to hit the subscribe and the alerts button, so that you see those in your feed and you can cast your vote. Okay, so SoFi has had a really rough year, as I'm not shocking anyone, obviously, but January 3rd, which was the first day of 2022 that the market was open, we had a close of 1568, and at that time it felt like we had taken quite a beating. Why is this being super weird? Okay. At that time, we had taken quite a beating, right? We had come down all the way down to here. And if you're getting a refresher right now, apologies for the screaming and the noise in the background, small kids. But obviously you can see what happened here with this huge drawdown from the last attempt at 25, which at this point was in November of last year. And then we're consolidating into that time frame, right? Into that first week of January, we're consolidating, legged down, right? We broke that lower level here and then tried to basically push up against it. Got knocked around a lot with the market and came down, started fighting in this range. So these were all levels. I didn't put any new levels on here. These were all levels that we had previously. And this is when I was saying it's just going to be playing the dollars and the 50-cent marks for quite some time. $13, $12.50, $12, $11.50, $11, so on and so forth. And you see that that was basically the way that it ran. Now, I'll put in some levels down here since it broke below that $10 level and has been pretty securely down there at this point. So right around here, you have a pretty strong level around 982. So as it approaches that $10 level, obviously that's back floor level, that seems to be proving to have some strength, as well as, this may develop as something because you see the low here and the wick low here, and then that's about where it closed down today, but we'll maybe hold tight on putting too much there. But I do think that 851 level is certainly a pivot point. I would say that that's proven out to be the case over the last couple of weeks or so. Now, aside from that, we might as well clean up a bunch of this because we can just put levels back in, hopefully when it starts to regain its composure and starts to put in some motion at these levels again. And I'm going to move this one down because I think where we want this, well, no, that's going to be too tight in. Okay, we can leave that, up here, we'll say right here, probably looks like it aligns better with the more recent activity. Now beyond that, putting in a bit of a trend line here, you see it had formed this sort of cup here over the course of a couple of weeks, and then it just broke down really strong. I wasn't able to put in anything over this $13 level. So that's proving to be really strong. Now, what I'm looking at the moment are a couple of things. One, can anything come from it recently breaking this downtrend? So I'm going to leave this here for the moment, but then there is this other one that you could put in here, and it'll lop off the head of that spot where we just put that candle, where we just put the last trend marker. But this would be the next sort of most important thing in my mind. So you see this here was caught under this steep downtrend, was able to break through there, and is now either retracing back to retest like 850, or this $9 level could be for real, because that's obviously a strong psychological level, and then maybe consolidates and maybe make a move, or maybe try to push back up toward that 982 level. But in any case, this is just to say it did break this steep downtrend. Doesn't mean that it won't retrace back down there. I think everyone should be very fluent in the sort of propensity of SoFi to break down at this point. But in any case, to me, breaking this level here would be the first most important thing, even more so than it just reclaiming 10 or reclaiming 1065 or what have you. That's what I would most like to look for. Now, since it's been a long time as well, we can do a quick check-in on some of these indicators, and then I'll do just a recap of what we just went over in the video. Now, the EMAs that I have here, it's fighting right now with this 5 and 12. It's obviously fully bearish, and that's 34 EMA, which could help it sort of like reverse trend if it's able to come through that level, is by the time it gets there probably going to be close to that 10, maybe 10-15 level. So all eyes on $10 if it's able to break upward. Now, from the MA perspective, looking a little bit long term, obviously again still here, bearish trend, and these levels situated much higher. So that 50, if you wanted to look for any testing of the 50 MA, probably by the time it gets there, it's going to be in the like mid $10 range. I mean, that this is sort of crystal ball territory, because I'm guessing how long it will take to get there. And if it does draw down further, then this is going to come down quite a bit as well. But if it is able to make a decent go of consolidating here and trying to push up again, that would be my guess, sort of mid 10s on that 50 MA. But hopefully nothing wildly shocking there, that those are in a bearish formation at the moment. And then on the MACD, as you see, we were caught in this just tremendous bearish trend. And then really, even though the price has been drawing down, the MACD has been fluctuating a little bit between bullish and bearish momentum, but really there's just been relatively flat momentum. And again, this is why I think that it was just for this period of time, which is, you look back toward the end of the year, it was really just getting dragged around with the market. It didn't have a ton to do with SoFi. Obviously earnings did, but that was also a poop show, as you know, in terms of like that roller coaster ride that took the price on as well. So, I mean, there's just no staying power in any of these sort of trends or short-term factors, because the market in and of itself is going through, as you know, inflationary concerns, interest hike concerns, what I've been talking about, which is the potential like drawing out of liquidity due to tapering. That's actually what I think is potentially the biggest challenge long term. And then obviously the global political situation, scaring the pants off of a bunch of markets and a bunch of investors and what have you. But that's just to say, with this really flat movements, yet the price drawing down so much, to me, that's just further indicative of SoFi is just getting lugged around with the broader market in and of itself. And right now, it's curling back down, potentially bearish again, but it just hasn't meant a lot. in my estimation, the MACD. Not broad enough moves, not building broad enough bases, and not being able to act independently as a stock unto itself. Wow. Webull is still having this issue on their desktop app, apparently, where the RSI is not coming up. So I guess we don't know what the RSI is at the moment, unless it wants to pop on the screen as it has previously. But again, I think regardless of any of these indicators, especially since the MAs and even the EMAs are so relatively far away from where the price point is at this time, I think 850, and I know I didn't put 9 on there, but for even just the psychological effect, I could see $9 right where it is right now being impactful. So the battle for 9 could certainly be a real thing. But if it loses that battle for the bulls, 850 could be a really strong retest. If it bounces there, that might give it the strength that it needs to get through 9 and make an attempt at that 982 level again. And if it does, it's either going to double top there, or it's going to be able to break through, and would probably be pretty strong placement for it to break this downtrend resistance as well and give it an opportunity to make a go. But one last thing that I'll mention, some folks have asked me here or on Twitter or whatever about my positioning. I'm still in my commons, so I've been suffering along with everyone in those those commons that I've been holding to try to offset that a little bit. I've been wheeling them. I haven't had anything called away yet, so as you would imagine, with the price continuing to draw down, it's hard to get things called away. Maybe even if you're selling calls in the money, but yeah. So I'm doing that with my commons, but that's all that I have at the moment. Waiting to obviously see what happens, but it's been putting a beating on my account as well. But I do think that the company is interesting, so I'm holding on to those for the moment. And like I said, trying to trim my cost basis by collecting some premium by wheeling it. All right, folks, that's that. Like I said, look for some polls over the weekend on some other tickers, and then look for a couple of new SoFi videos as we get into next week and things start plugging along, especially if there's days where some interesting things happen, and we push some of these price levels, especially that 982 or that 851. If it interacts with those would be sort of like triggers for me to want to jump in and kind of make a video. And we'll just kind of see how we do. But yeah, look for more videos coming out here in the near future, and sorry for sort of the layoff period that I had, but my attention just had to go elsewhere. So looking forward to being back and hopefully getting fresh eyes on things. All right, folks, I hope that you are having a good end of the week and that you have an enjoyable weekend ahead. And as always, I do appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next, very soon, video.